Welcome back to the EAM Crypto channel. Thank you so much for watching. You can be doing anything you want with your life, and here you are watching me. So I appreciate the support, and if you decide to subscribe, thank you in advance. All right, guys, there's a lot to talk about. What I wanted to do today is instead of doing what we usually do of kind of looking at a bunch of charts and talking about all that stuff, I wanted to just kind of break down what's going to happen tomorrow as far as what the expectations are. That way we will all know how to react to it. So let's check this out. This summarizes things really, really well. And this is basically all that it's going to come down to tomorrow. So with the CPI report, which is going to be at 7:30 Central Time. So if you're in New York, 8:30 a.m. Central. If you're in the West Coast, very early, 5:30 Pacific Time. That's when these numbers are going to come out. And the big thing to note is that the economists predict that the headline CPI year over year will be 8.1%. 8.1% is about what they're expecting, but it was previously 8.3%. And then as far as core CPI, which I believe is probably more important because that one has more of a focus on what your average family is dealing with as far as monthly costs, they're expecting 6.5%, which would be a little bit 2 ticks of an increase from last the previous one. So this is really kind of like the key piece of it, right? Is as soon as that gets announced, if you hear 8.1 to 8.3, and then with the core 6.5%, well, that's what the market is expecting, and it's hard to predict if that means that the market's going to go up or down. These markets, I feel like, are just looking for an excuse to go up. If you look at Bitcoin right now, it seems to be pumping. Ethereum seems to be pumping. We'll look at that right now, but not all the alts are, which is kind of weird. But just thinking about it, that's going to be kind of the key piece. So if you hear anything tomorrow higher than 8.3, or maybe even 8.2, 8.3, I don't think the market will do well with that. And if 6.5, if instead of 6.5, it's 6.6, 6.7, forget about it. These markets are going to tank, and they're going to tank so fast. Trading has become so just bombarded with bots and quants and all that stuff. So the moves will be super fast. So just note that. So that's going to be the key piece. So I'm just not doing a bunch of reading or any of the stuff I usually do, or doing a bunch of research. Even if you didn't do any of that, just looking at common sense, just thinking about when I go to the grocery store and I buy things that I've been buying for a very long time, or my wife does, or goes to the grocery store. It's just one of those things where everything is clearly a lot higher. Whether we go to our favorite restaurants around the corner or close to our neighborhood, everything's a lot higher. We just had a meal on Sunday night, where it's typically for the 4 of us, it's maybe like $83 or $85 or $86 or something like that. And it was like $112, huge increase from the previous time that we had gone to that restaurant just like a month ago. So I'm expecting for CPI to come in hot, and I'll be very surprised if we get numbers lower than what the economists are predicting. So anything higher than 8.3 for headline CPI, forget about it. Market's going to tank, and it's going to get really ugly. And then Bitcoin, I think, will then continue to that trajectory where, I'm not calling bottoms. I'm not saying the bottom's happened or hasn't happened. I don't know for sure. However, the indicators and just the fundamentals and everything just kind of tells us that the most likely scenarios that we have not found a bottom. And that's just unfortunately what if you include fundamentals and technical analysis, that's kind of like my projection. Could I be wrong? Sure. And we have hit a bottom. And then for core CPI, if that one's higher than 6.5, forget about it. I mean, even 6.5, just because it's 2 ticks higher than the previous one, even though it's the expectation, it still could create for a bit of a sell-off, and maybe it will be overreaction, and then you can find a nice spot. But yeah, I'm telling you, if it's 6.6, 6.7, it's going to get ugly. And headline CPI, it's called headline. It gets the headlines. But in many ways, I've always thought that core CPI is more important. So keep an eye on that. So if headline CPI comes in right where it should be, but then core CPI is up like one tick, and then you see the market just plummet. Don't think, oh my gosh, this is what happened. I thought the expectation was 8.1 or 8 to 8.3 or whatever. It could be one of those kinds of things. So just looking at the charts, it looks like there's I don't know if it's hopium or maybe some news got out, but I doubt it because the Nasdaq was pretty flat today, just a small little decrease. Tesla went up, I think, like almost a percentage point, almost. And then here we are with Bitcoin, kind of. I guess I could say pumping. I mean, it's kind of pumping a little bit right now. I'm not going to say pumping, pump. That's how bearish things have been, right? This is considered a pump. I guess I'll look a little bit more pumpy if we look at the 1 hour. No, not really. So yeah, I mean, so bottom line, I guess what I'm trying to get at is that with Bitcoin, it has been pretty strong, pretty much for the last few hours, about really the last 12 hours. And then Ethereum has done the same thing, which has been a huge surprise. Ethereum has actually just started pumping again the last couple of hours. We still have 2 hours and 14 minutes to go on this 4 hour candle. And this has been surprising to me. I expected crypto to be flat, like not flat, but like I was expecting Ethereum maybe down, I don't know, 20 to 40 points today. I really was expecting that. And it hasn't quite happened. So pretty surprising, but again, you cannot be bullish on Ethereum right now. On Bitcoin, you definitely cannot be bullish on Bitcoin right now. Anytime that we're underneath this 20K mark or 19,900 to be more exact. And then I did want to call out the fact that look at ADA. I mean, it's just gotten destroyed the last 8 hours, and most alts have not done well today. I think even XRP has had a bad day today, despite the fact that it was looking so good. Elron has been one of the better performing alts of late. Even that one not exactly performing great. So the only two that are having a bit of a jump right now are Bitcoin and Ethereum, it looks like, which is very, very interesting to see. When you see just Ethereum and Bitcoin doing pretty well, especially the last 8 to 12 hours, while all the other alts, most of them kind of look like this. ADA's really getting hit hard right now. It's pretty interesting. It makes you wonder what's really going on in the markets. I just think that there's some bad stuff about to happen. That what I think he's called the Lord Governor or whatever his title is from the UK that basically gave that deadline of 3 days. That was kind of scary. It makes you wonder what he was thinking about when he said that. I think what was that yesterday or the day before? I've been so busy this week I can't even remember. So I just feel like there's more bad news coming, and maybe it'll be tomorrow. So very interesting to see Bitcoin doing okay right now. And I don't know, maybe some people think that the CPI numbers will come in better than expected tomorrow. I just don't see how you could, just looking at everything. And I don't know how much, the Biden administration has dipped into the petroleum reserves, but if they've really hit those hard, there's somewhere you can check. I actually been meaning to for like a week and a half to check that website, but there's a website where you can check to see how much the reserves have been hit. But from what I've seen, I haven't seen it with my own eyes. It's just from some of the headlines that I've read over. The levels have not been this low since I think the 80s. So they're really trying everything they can to try to keep the gas prices lower with midterms coming up, and that of course does have some kind of effect with the CPI numbers tomorrow. So I mean that's the only thing I can think of that would maybe keep the CPI numbers from looking less hot than what they should be. Is that other than that, there's just looking around from, like I said, restaurants to going grocery shopping to basically anything. I don't think that inflation has been hit hard enough at all. And really, the only way to cool off inflation is to basically create a recession. You create a recession, there'll be less. Prices will eventually go down because demand will go down because people will have less money, so less liquidity creates lower prices. So yeah, we will see what happens, but at the end of the day, the only way to really cool off inflation is to create a recession, and that's exactly what Powell's trying to do. And one last thing before we end the video. The Cleveland Fed has been historically a good predictor of what CPI numbers will look like. And if you go check that out, just Google it, you will see that what the Cleveland Fed had released does also kind of hint at some pretty hot CPI numbers tomorrow. So yeah, I will be alert and ready come 7:30 a.m. Central Time, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens. And if the numbers come right in line and there's no surprises, it's going to be really interesting to see what the markets do. But yeah, really weird to see what Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing. They're doing pretty well the last 12 hours, while some alts, many alts, look like this. Really makes you wonder why. But yeah, that's about it for now. And I will try to do a video tomorrow. Take care. Thanks.